Hey, welcome back, tribe. In today's video, we're going to be diving into summative evaluation, formative evaluation, cost effectiveness analysis, and cost benefit analysis, and more importantly, how to differentiate between them so we can identify which one is the correct answer on the exam. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's dive into it. And real quick, I want to show this book, Research Methods for Social Work. This is the book that I use to get the information from. So it's coming right from the source and not pulling it from a random Reddit thread or anything like that. So you see it's coming right from the source. And first up is summative evaluation. So summative evaluations are concerned with the first of the three purposes involving the ultimate success of a program and decisions about whether it should be continued or chosen in the first place from among alternative options. The results of a summative evaluation convey a sense of finality. So at the end, depending on whether the results imply that the person succeeded, the program may or may not survive. Because after a summary of the entire program, right at the end, well, we can decide based off of the results that we got from doing this summative evaluation. Should we continue it? Should we discontinue it? Or just make some improvements so that we can ultimately continue the program? Summative evaluation usually uses quantitative methods and quantity number. Quantitative methods, research focuses on numbers, measurements, and statistics. And a memory tip, a summative evaluation provides an overall summary about the success or failure of a program at the end, once it has been fully implemented, to determine if it achieved its goals and decide if the program should be continued, changed, or ended. So, summative evaluation, the end, a summary of the entire thing. So keep that in mind. Now looking at formative evaluations. So formative evaluations, for example, are not concerned with testing the success of a program. They focus instead on obtaining information that is helpful in planning the program and improving the program, its implementation and performance. So for formative evaluations, they may use quantitative methods, qualitative methods, or both. So again, quant numbers. Quantitative methods are research focuses on numbers, measurements, and statistics. Quality gain from talking. Qualitative methods, research focuses on words, meanings, and experiences via interviews, focus groups, etc. And a memory tip, formative evaluations are used to inform, formative, like a play off of the word, to inform us so we can plan it from the start and make ongoing improvements. So this is formative evaluations. Now looking at cost effectiveness analysis, and I know cost effectiveness, cost benefit, it could be confusing for many of us, but no worries, I got you. I broke it all down for us. So in cost effectiveness analysis, the only monetary considerations are the cost of the program itself. The monetary benefits of the program's effects are not assessed. Usually compares two or more programs or interventions to see which one produces better results for the money being spent. And remember, cost effective. What's more cost effective? So, the memory tip I have for us, which grocery store is more cost effective at getting me the groceries that I want? Costco or Target? It would be Costco because I get more bang for my buck. So for those that's not familiar, Costco, think of like uh, a bigger grocery store where you get bigger items for overall cheaper price compared to Target where those same groceries could just be more expensive. So which grocery store is more cost effective at doing our grocery shopping, Costco or Target? Well, it would be Costco because we get more bang for our buck that's spent. And when we're doing cost effectiveness analysis for programs or interventions, well, which program gets us more bang for our buck for the dollar that's being spent? And now let's look at cost benefit analysis. In cost benefit analysis, an effort is made to monetize the program's outcome in addition to its costs. Who, what, huh? Hold on, I got you. Usually looks at one single program and asks whether its monetary benefits outweigh its monetary costs. Memory tip: does this program make or save us money than its cost to actually run the program? Yay or nay? If it don't make or save us money, it don't make sense. So with cost benefit analysis is literally looking at, hey, whatever this program intervention is, how much does it cost to run this actual program and whatnot? Okay, it costs this dollar amount. Cool. And whatever like the benefit of this program, like the overall purpose of why this program even exists in the first place, what does that, like, if we're talking about preventing dropout rates or people from becoming unhoused, whatever that overall purpose of the program is, when you convert that benefit into monetary terms, like, oh, we prevent X amount of students, X amount of people from becoming unhoused, dropping out, whatever the case may be, what does that look like in terms of money? Overall, ultimately, how much money is this program being in place? Like the benefits, how much is that making us or saving us? Hopefully, that dollar amount is higher than when it actually takes to run the program. Because let's say, just for the sake of math, if it costs us, let's say, $100 to run a program, and when we convert whatever the benefits, the outcomes, the purpose of the program into terms of money, and it's like, oh, snap, the outcome is generating us $25. Well, it's costing us $100 to run the program. So is it really worth it if it's costing us $100 to run the program? And when we look at the outcome, the benefits, the purpose of the program, when we look at it in terms of money, it ultimately gives us $25 in return. It's not really worth it. So for cost benefit analysis, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. All right, so now let's dive into 4 practice questions. So first up, a social worker meets with an agency administrator to discuss the next steps of reviewing data from a statewide parenting initiative. In addition to the program's operating expenses, the analysis includes estimates of participants' increased lifetime earnings and reductions in future child welfare costs. What type of evaluation is the social worker most likely going to conduct? A. Summative evaluation. B. Cost effectiveness analysis. C. Cost benefit analysis. Or D. Formative evaluation. Take a sec, pause, and then we'll break it down. Okay, if you picked C, cost benefit analysis, you are correct. Why? So remember, with cost benefit analysis, this reflects a cost benefit analysis because it determines whether a program's financial benefits or the good that comes from the program slash intervention, in this case, increased lifetime earnings and reduced child welfare costs. We turn that, what does that look like in terms of money? If that outweighs the cost of what it actually takes to run the program. So again, if a program costs more money to run than what's being made or saved, it don't make sense. So that's why this one is more reflective of a cost benefit analysis. How about this one? Uh, a social worker at an agency is asked to review a new community mentorship program before it officially launches. The social worker's focus is on collecting feedback from participants and staff to refine the program structure and delivery so it can operate more effectively once implemented. What best describes the type of evaluation the social worker plans to utilize? A. Summative evaluation. B. Cost effectiveness analysis. C. Cost benefit analysis. Or D. Formative evaluation. Take a sec, pause, and then we'll break it down. Okay, if you picked D, formative evaluation, you are correct. Why? So, with formative evaluation, this occurs during the development or early implementation of a program to gather information that helps improve its design, planning, or performance before final outcomes are measured. This is an ongoing process. And remember, the question said, a social worker at an agency is asked to review a new community mentorship program before it officially launches. So, what's being charaded to us, acted out, A, B, C, or D? And this is reflective of D, a formative evaluation. So, we definitely want to go with D for this one. Three, a social worker is tasked with evaluating two different intervention programs designed to reduce high school dropout rates in a low income community. The first program has a lower overall cost, but results in a moderate reduction in dropout rates, while the second program is more expensive but achieves a significant reduction in dropout rates. What is the most effective method for the social worker to use to determine which program achieves better outcomes relative to its cost? A, summative evaluation, B, cost effectiveness analysis, C, cost benefit analysis, or D, formative evaluation. Take a sec, pause, and then we'll break it down. Okay, if you picked B, cost effectiveness analysis, you are correct. Why? So, with cost effectiveness analysis, which program achieves better outcomes relative to its costs? What does this mean? This means how much result or good outcome are you getting for every dollar spent? The question is comparing program cost against non monetary, meaning not monetary outcomes, in this case, dropout reduction, to determine which program provides better results for the money being spent. And remember, when they're usually comparing two programs to each other, is usually referring to cost effectiveness. Like, what is the more cost effective grocery store to get our groceries from, Costco or Target? So, for this one, we definitely want to rock with B. And the last one, 4. A social worker meets with administrative staff members to present the findings of a youth mentorship program that recently concluded after achieving its initial goals. Staff members are pleased with the results and wants to continue going into the next fiscal calendar year. What best describes the process completed that was presented by the social worker? A, summative evaluation, B, cost effectiveness analysis, C, cost benefit analysis, or D, formative evaluation. Take a sec, pause, and then we'll break it down. Okay, if you picked A, summative evaluation, you are correct. Why? So, summary at the end. The social worker's process of gathering information reflects a summative evaluation, which assesses a program's overall outcomes and helps determine whether it should be continued or not. Because remember, on the exam, when we're differentiating between them, well, summative, that occurs at the end. Formative evaluation, it usually occurs at the beginning, early stages, an ongoing process, not necessarily after it's all said and done. So we're able to differentiate between them off of that alone, no matter how the details are worded. And because this question in particular is talking about, hey, we're just presenting the findings to the administrative staff and they're pleased because it achieved its overall goals and they want to continue, which is a great thing. So for this one, we're definitely rocking with A, summative evaluation. All right, tribe, that's it for today's video. Again, going over summative evaluation, formative evaluation, cost effectiveness analysis, and cost benefit analysis. As a real quick recap, summative evaluation, it occurs at the end. It gets a summary of the overall outcome of everything once it concludes to see, hey, should we continue, make some improvements, Or does it just make sense to disc it to you based off of the results that we found? Formative evaluations are used to inform us. Formative evaluations are usually done in the beginning and it's an ongoing process. So we're gathering feedback so we can make improvements to whatever we got going on with that program, that intervention. When we talk about cost effectiveness analysis, this is used where we're primarily just looking at, hey, how much does it cost for this program, this intervention? And how much bang for a buck do we get for the money being spent? That's what we want to look for. We're not turning the outcome, the benefit, into terms of monetary terms. That's cost benefit. With cost effectiveness, hey, what grocery store gets us more bang for our buck? And cost benefit analysis is saying, hey, how much it costs to run this program? Cool. When whatever outcome, benefit, the good that comes from this program that we have going on, what does that look like in terms of money, right? Reduce dropout rates, reduce unhousing rates and whatnot. When we convert that in terms of money, how much is that making us or saving us? Cool. Is that number higher than the number we're actually paying to run this program? Hopefully it is, because if it's not, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. We got to go back to the drawing board and figure something out, because we don't want to be spending more money to run a program than the return on our investment that we're getting. So just a way to remember it and break it down. All right, tribe, that's it for today's video. Break it down to 4 terms and how to differentiate between them so we can identify them on the exam and get those freebies, right? Because which way the details are, what's the focus of this term? All terms, are they charading? You know, the game charades where somebody will act something out and we have to identify, oh, you're charading this to me, you're charading summative evaluation to me, or you're charading formative or cost benefit or cost effectiveness based off of what makes this term it. And is that being displayed within a question? That's what we want to look for. And don't forget to like, comment, and share with the social work friend, because we don't want to be licensed by ourselves. All right, tribe, I'll see you next video.